does have his team behind him. We got some hexes picked up for Execration, one on the Sand King and one on the OD. We also saw the OD struggle a little bit against the Butterfly in the last fight. So he is going to be working his way towards an NKB. I was wondering if we might just see yet another refresher on him to double up his BKB and get another shot with the Sanity's Eclipse. But instead just opting to try and get some right clicks in. Razor's refresher is back up cooldown, so Tim's gonna scout this smoke. Does have the blink to get out. They get the burn strike coming in onto the Witch Doctor. He's the only target so far. Double Force Staff actually gonna get them a little bit further away. Yaj, what else can he find? Raging Potato trying to run forward, but his blink being cancelled. Cuckoo jumping in pretty aggressively, gonna send 4 of them packing backwards with the fear.
Oh man. The funny thing about Quap.
Oh, Nando got bashed. Oh, poor guy. The funny thing about Roshan.
Oh, hold that thought. We might see a big fight here. Nando's ultimate now ends. He does have a refresh orb, but doesn't want to pop in willy-nilly here.
Yeah, alright, BKB jump in. Hex, can they actually get anything? Carl may have jumped the gun.
Yeah.
Oh, no, that's not good. Now Tim's going to turn around. They've got the stun. They should just be able to burst the OD. Can he imprison himself? He will be able to. Might be able to blink out of this one unless Sam H has the cause. With the battery assault, Carl managed to blink himself out. But Cuckoo is right on top of him. He's dead for 120 seconds. And TNC going to come knocking on the door. The hook shot forward. Yeah, Sam H just saying hello.
That's Roshan.
Like TNC actually want the Rosh instead. Yeah. And that is the refresher shard up for grabs.
So who's gonna give it to? I'm not sure who has the inventory spot at this point for it. Queen of Pain, I guess.
I suppose. I mean, it's just important that they take it away from Execration because they
want to fight for it.
Definitely have some value. All right, they're gonna pop that. Oh, the Sand King trying to queue up the epicenter. But I don't think he's going to get the chance. He's being feared. He will be able to use himself. The Doom jumping in. He manages to get it up onto the Terrorblade. But TNC is just kiting away. Nando with the fairly ineffective BKB. Raging Potato with the secondary Doom. Now over onto the Quap. I think he should be able to run down Cuckoo up on the high ground. Terrorblade still waiting. Still waiting. They have lost their Nyx Assassin. Carl jumping forward aggressively. Another Hex, but a Force Staff up onto the high ground. Sam H finds himself in a bit of an awkward situation, but actually might be exactly what he needed. They're going to buy back on the Quap.
Can they go back and get the Roshan? They did buy back for this. A lot of commitment. Roshan is very low. Rocket Flare is going to check the HP of Roshan. They don't take it necessarily that fast, but of course, TNC is very far away from Rosh. I don't think they can make it there in time unless Clockwork hooks in away from a mile.
Damage. He's got the distance.
Clockwork.
He's in range now. He should actually be able to do this. They're going to jump in. They've got the fear. They're up. Now they've also got the Aegis. Who managed to get away with the cheat? I don't know if it really matters. Nando's about to drop. They have to keep Carl alive. He did just buy back earlier. Nando, one more touch to finish him. Rocket Flare's going to get it. Sandwich with the double. Lumit getting ticked down. TNC looks like they may have actually just found the opportunity. 2 heroes dead with no buyback. The Razor buyback waiting to be forced. There is a glyph, but... well, we doubted the scaling potential of the Clockwork, but Sam H has certainly made me eat my words.
Cuckoo picked up the refresher shard, and now we're going to see a hook in.
Yeah, they're going to work. He pops that refresher. Can they burst down Nando? Can they burst down Carl? They've got the secondary Hex. Nando's dead. Carl trying to escape back to his fountain. Looks like he might be able to make it, but the rest of the team is gone. TB just way too much damage, laying in with the auto attacks. Raven isn't even going to bother going for the tier 3. No, straight onto the tier 4. TNC sensed their opportunity to move forward, and Execration know when to call it a day.
Holy. What a comeback here from TNC. They were very much down after the late.
They never closed the net worth goal the entire game.
Yeah, just out team fight, out maneuver TNC. The one thing that TNC did super well, and I think much better than Execration, is that they got a lot better vision, and they always choose to take fight under their vision. And that helps a lot in terms of kind of continue your spell. Also, very awesome recovery from Cuckoo, right? During the mid game, I was saying, man, Cuckoo's game is done. But after he got to 25, he recognized that, okay, my damage department is not very high, but I could still play the control game. And that's pretty much what he did. Going forward, the 1.5 second fear, just doing so much work. And of course, we saw what happened there in the Roshan.
Dire team ban. Ten seconds remaining. Team ban. Dire team ban. Radiant team ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds. Dire team ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team ban. Radiant team pick. Assassin.
All right, everyone, welcome back. Bucharest Major 2018 SCA Qualifier Grand Finals, game number 2. It's TNC versus Execration, and as we load in, we're going to find TNC at a comfortable one-game lead, one step away from heading to the Bucharest Major a little bit later this year. I'm Baseskip, great to be back casting for you guys once again, and joining me once again is Lumi. Lumi, how's it going?
I am doing great. We had a pretty long pause, but now we are...
we got there in the end.
Yeah. I was just saying that we had a pretty long pause. We had a little bit of, I think, lobby issues, but we're in now. That's all that matters. And Execration bans out, I think, TNC's 2 of their best 3 heroes. We got the... well, 2 of their best heroes, not best 3, but you got the Shadow Fiend and the PL being banned, but then they just phase 1 Terrorblade instead, you know? One illusion hero gone, another substitutes in.
Sure. Why not? It seems like TNC know exactly what their plan is going into this series. I'm interested that they've just continued to ban out the Tinker and the Bounty Hunter. This time around they get rid of the Tiny, but not at all worried about the Doom, not at all worried about the Razor, it seems. I think the Terrorblade is actually quite a good answer to Razor as a hero, right? There's just no way that Razor can really stand there and steal damage from you ever, and you can quite easily buy a Hurricane Pike if you're even remotely worried about that, so... TB certainly very strong. Super high armor as well, so it doesn't really have to care at all about the Eye of the Storm.
Also, not only that, Razor's not one of those core heroes. Even when he gets to late game, he never really hits that hard or fast to pressure Terrorblade's life total like some of the other carries would. So you're always pretty much guaranteed to get off a good Sunder. So yeah, I feel like this is a very strong matchup. I'm questioning whether this is a offlane Nyx or a position 4 Nyx. I think pretty much the only time I've ever seen Tims play position 4 Nyx is when they have the Bane. That's a very reliable setup, but we'll see if that's going to be the case.
Yeah. There's still plenty of Tim's heroes left in the pool, so they might see what the landscape is looking like heading into the next phase, and then they have the opportunity to get maybe a really sweet position 4 pickup. I would not be at all surprised to see something like the Earth Spirit this game, potentially. I think it's quite good against Bane. You've got long distance ways to be able to cancel a Fiend's Grip without really having to put yourself in harm's way, which is always going to be nice to have.
Dire team ban.
But Batrider is the ban, so Execration do at least respect the mix-up potential of the Nyx Assassin, right? That it can be heading to position 3 or position 4.
That's a little weird though, because you have the Nyx already. Oh no, that makes sense because Execration is the person that banned the Bat Rider. I was gonna say you have the Nyx, so you're not really worried about a Bat pick.
5 seconds remaining.
But yeah.
Yeah, I mean TNC could have quite easily picked it, and I think it's a hero that's really annoying for Razor to play against.
Sure.
Right, you're very much about sustaining and kind of having your team around you, and then you just get dragged away and bursted down by Terrorblade.
Even in laning stage, you know, when Bat Rider runs at you, like some people think, oh, I could just link him up and stand my ground and fight him. But what really good Bat Rider players do is that they run on top of you and then they start spinning on top of you, and because you have napalm, like you turn around so slowly that you often like can't actually get off good attacks. If that makes sense.
Yeah. So we get the Doom picked up, but
10 seconds
TNC
remaining.
just grabbing themselves a Witch Doctor. I mean, decent hero against the Doom. You got some physical damage. You're decent against tankier heroes in general, and the heal is quite useful. We've talked at length about Terrorblade versus Doom, it feels like, in this SEA qualifier, right? There's it is sort of an interesting dynamic where if the Doom manages to find you and you don't have your spells popped, then the Doom is quite scary for the Terrorblade. You can just get mowed down, but at the same time, if Terrorblade is in siege mode with his Manta popped and all of his illusions around him and his Metamorphosis running, that's where he just turns Doom into paste. Like,
yep.
The hero does not have nearly enough armor to be able to survive. Actually, there are very few heroes in the game that have enough armor to survive a Terrorblade, like all-out assault.
Oh, we did see, I think, the other day when the 1437 was playing the Bane, he was actually able to drop off an Enfeeble onto the Terrorblade, and with the talent upgrade, it was what, 220 damage negated from Terrorblade. So that can be Execration's game plan walking into the late game. Granted though, Bane generally doesn't get a ton of levels to begin with, so that is hard to come by. I'm gonna see a Queen of Pain here. One of the rare times that you see Queen of Pain in a game, and it's actually a good pick, because a lot of teams has fallen into the trap of picking Queen into a Tiny, and that is a no-go.
Yeah, as we've seen over the course of this qualifier, it has been not the pick against Tiny in all the games that it's been grabbed. So in terms of Queen of Pain in this game, it's a very good Linken's game, I'll say that. I mean, the spell block talent does take a little while to get to, but I think it is going to end up being quite relevant if we do get to that point. Decent at bursting the Razor, gives them... I'd like this other... One of the other things that's nice to do against Doom is to kind of diversify your core situation when it comes to who's going to get doomed. You know, inevitably someone will be doomed, but knowing that you always have someone else who can still have a big impact, or who can jump in after the other core gets doomed to kind of carry the team fight, is always really nice to have. And I think the Queen of Pain kind of fits the bill this game. Like, after Doom is down, the lockdown from Execration is a little bit less reliable to keep the Queen of Pain pinned, and that's where she can actually shine.
The thing is, I feel like a lot of these heroes on the side of Execration is quite tanky, so I'm not sure, in terms just from the nuke department, whether Queen is a good pick. Razor in particular has been buying Hood and Drums as the first two items, so that's a lot of effective HP against Queen as well. Bane is tanky because of things like Brain Stab and his stat gain. Doom is Doom, and Sand King is a strength hero as well. So, I mean, I don't think it's a bad Queen game, but it's also not exactly an excellent one either.
Yeah, it's not like there's two squishy supports that you can just jump on by yourself and kill anytime you want. That to me is often the hallmark of a really good Queen of Pain game.
Yeah, and you also haven't seen their mid yet, so you don't know if you have a lane advantage there. So,
I mean, if they really wanted to, they could jam the Queen of Pain in like the off lane and still pick another core, right? That would be a bit unorthodox, but not completely outside of the realm of possibility.
Sounds pretty good, actually. Because you can just blink away from Razor if you're ever in trouble.
Radiant team pick.
Yep. Oh, nope. Alright, just gonna be a clockwork. So it looks like offlane Nyx, Tim's 4 o'clock. I got the Queen of Pain probably heading mid, Terrorblade in the safe lane. Nothing really too flashy from TNC in this draft. It seems solid though.
10
I don't
seconds
mind. But
remaining.
Execration, they've got their Razor, they've got their Doom. I guess this is going to be
5 seconds remaining.
the real test of like whether or not their read on the patch is good, because these are heroes that they've been going to time after time in this
Choose
qualifier.
your hero.
And now they go for the OD. So we talked about this yesterday. Quite a good matchup against the Terrorblade. I think the defensive capability is reasonable this game. You are picking OD into a Nyx, which is sometimes a little bit scary, but it's not the end of the world necessarily for OD. Just getting mana burned occasionally.
Yeah, I think OD versus Queen as the matchup goes, I think it's actually pretty even. Queen has the early advantage, given the fact that the OD Orb or the Astro is very low range. So Queen should dominate the early lane. I think Bane has to actually start there and help him out. And likely Witch Doctor will start mid as a result as well.
Yep.
Good old 2v2 on the mid
remaining.
lane. But, I mean, I think it's not
5
perhaps the best
seconds
pick because of the Nyx, like you mentioned.
Do you... Okay, so it's going to be Sanking as the 3. We've got Doom as the 4. We saw Piladai have an insanely impactful early game on Doom in one of Fnatic's matches yesterday. So we'll see if Raging Potato can channel a little bit of that here. So what's it going to be? Sanking plus Doom against TB, Witch Doctor, Clockwork. Though like you're saying, the Witch Doctor is likely to go and help out mid lane a little bit at the beginning. Just to try and shoo away the Bane if possible. So I think they can get a reasonable amount done. The Sanking's certainly going to be quite annoying for the Terrorblade in lane.
Draft-wise, I think it's a pretty even draft. I like the tempo game that TNC could play, because if you look at it, pretty much every one of these heroes except Terrorblade comes online relatively quickly. And they can create space for the Terrorblade. Terrorblade, even when he doesn't have any items, he could at least like take a tier 1 building. So he also contributes to the kind of forwarding the game plan for TNC. And if you look at Execration, I feel like they're more or less in the same place as what happened in game 1. Not as poor, but Sanking needs a little bit of time to come online. OD needs a lot of time to come online. Razor is pretty decent early on, but also needs to farm well to keep up with the game. So you can't just get face drum hood and expect to like go late. You need to continue farming. And Doom, well, it comes down to how he plays. But I feel like TNC just have more heroes that are more impactful early on. And knowing the way that TNC plays, they're just very good at getting a lead and then holding on to the lead. I'm just favoring TNC quite a bit here.
Yeah, I'm still... I think I'm inclined to agree with you. I think the draft situation kind of even overall, and TNC having cast quite a bit of them this tournament just seems to be, in my reckoning, the stronger team of the two. So I got another quick pause and we're going to get underway. We will have Raging Potato going for that same kind of starting build that we saw in the previous game on the Brewmaster with the boots and the stout. So we'll see if it's a little bit more successful this time around in actually pressuring the lane. I mean, they did pressure the lane. They stopped the PL's farm a little bit, but it just didn't have any lasting consequences, unfortunately. And then the Brewmaster turned out to be like a relatively greedy position 4.
Man, everyone loves this word now.
Yeah, there you go.
Looking at the size of this box, I don't think 1 sentry could cover it. For example, if you put a sentry here, I'm not even sure if we'll...
I don't think it would reach that corner, yeah. There you go. The meta is evolving, Lumi, the ward meta.
To battle.
That's actually always pretty interesting.
Ward meta.
Yeah. Well, it's always the ward fake outs and stuff are interesting as well. Or, you know, you keep placing the same ward over and over, and then your opponent catches on, so you switch. Goku wanted to deny on that observer ward, which did get removed. Razor actually just going to chow down with a tango. Nando has some boots first. He's going to be ARK. Pretty standard.
Razor didn't just like skill link and just like come at me, bro. But
yeah,
forcing Cuckoo to actually get blink at level 1 actually helps out the mid lane quite a bit. Paro doesn't have to worry about Shadow Strike for quite a while. Considering that this is going to be a 2v2 mid lane.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting to see how it plays out. The first battle is going to be the block. Cuckoo coming in to help out 1437 a little bit. Both teams doing all right, but it looks like it is going to be TNC with the overall win. So they've got the high ground. That's going to help out in range versus range, but the Enfeeble is already thrown out. The tower is actually getting involved, so that's going to mess up the equilibrium somewhat. And Tim's deciding to come over and also get involved. He's already got the mana burn skilled up. You can see. And is he? Yeah, there you go. All right, mana burn thrown out. Hit the OD's mana pool early on, make it difficult for him a little bit later. It's going to be very difficult in this lane to ever really get a clarity to stick. So once he's out of mana, kind of has to head back to base or go for the shrine. Cuckoo taking a bunch of right-click damage, trying to man up against Lumik, but Lumik slapping everyone down even with no stat items. 63 base damage on the Bane, very solid.
Yeah, this Bane is really shutting down the lane super hard here against Cuckoo. Cuckoo pretty much won't be able to do anything till the Bane leaves.
Do you think it's worth it to like mana burn the Bane instead of the OD?
I think
to get him out of here faster?
I actually think that he should have done that earlier on.
Yeah, alright. So Tim's is taking over babysitting here. 1437 back over at top. Raven getting pressured a little bit. Sanking does have the point up in the caustic at the beginning of the lane. Infernal Blade, the selection from Doom. Raging Potato, what kind of creep has he got? There's a Centaur over here. Oh, Paralyzing Cast, doing a little bit of damage. That's about it. Cuckoo on the mid lane wants this kill on Carl, but actually just going in too deep and tanks some tower shots. Lumik auto-attacking the whole time, and that's going to be the end of that. Looks like... Did Carl pop a salve and then have it be cancelled? He's still alive on like 90 HP. Oh, he still wants him. He's back for round 2. Lumik might just deny him if he needs it, but I'm not even sure if he does. Spiked Carapace! Well, it was only a tiny bit of damage.
And
that wand... Yeah, he's got the Tango and the wand. Oh my god, no! Alright. Cuckoo's on his case. Not gonna let him have that regen rune.
How does Dire even see that there's a regen rune bottom? They don't have a...
I guess... I don't know. Alright, action up top. 1437 actually dropping pretty low. Makes it back to the trees. Has that Tango running. He'll be okay. Raven popped the meta, looks like quite early in the lane. Maybe even on the very first wave. So it doesn't have that up for another 30 seconds. Cuckoo, alright, finally gonna grab his second CS of the lane. Now that the Bane has finally been sent back. SamH actually playing the Clockwork this game, so not an amazing matchup against the Razor, but doing pretty well in terms of CS actually. 10 and 6, just in the straight up 1v1.
It's not a terrible matchup either, because oftentimes, if you could get Razor isolated from the creep wave, you could just walk in with Battery Assault, and he doesn't really have a way to counter.
Oh man, Raging Potato's dead. Metamorphosis came back up, and he was just in a way too deep. Paralyzing Cast. Yaj actually also in some trouble. Does have 2 points up in the Burst Strike, but Tim's mana burns him, and Raven finds a double. Well, so much for this lane that was supposed to pressure the Terrorblade. I mean, they impacted his CS a little bit, but feeding him a double kill is certainly not going to help.
And by getting so many kills up this top lane, now TNC will drag the Execration support to the top lane, thus freeing up the other lane as well. Pretty impactful 2 kills.
Yeah, Lumik's not helping mid anymore. Both mid laners have garbage CS at the moment. 8 and 3 versus 6 and 7. Carl looks like managing to actually dodge a Shadow Strike there with the Imprison. 1437. Trying to interfere with this bounty rune being grabbed. Tim's actually able to go and grab the Radiant bounty. Meanwhile, SamH dropping quite low at bottom. Does have his Tranquil Boots to heal him back up, and gonna go on a little bounty rune excursion while he waits. Imprisonment on the mid lane. Tim's is here, as is Lumik. Cuckoo should just be able to blink on out. He's fine. And in terms of an early game lead, very slight advantage to Execration. The Paralyzing Cask is bouncing back to Raging Potato, who's taking damage. The Maledict helping to bring him low, but it's only 1 point, so it won't be enough for a kill. Oh, what do we got? Radiant Scan down bottom. And suspicious of the Clockwork being down here. Not quite level 5 just yet. I don't know if 2 points in the Battery Assault would be enough to find the kill. I guess the Razor isn't actually that tanky, 920 health.
Yeah, but I think it will be, because the SamH has boots upgraded and a windlace, and then Razor's operating with brown boots. So if you actually just catch up to him with any battery, so he'll just like get on him pretty hard.
Alright, Nando's got the link. Over at the mid lane, Cuckoo's still I mean, he's behind in terms of the CS, but he's got so many denies on Carl at the moment. Lumik's actually just going to come back over and start spamming out those enfeebles once again. Very strange to see the two mid laners in like the middle of the CS pack. That's not the normal situation.
I think Queen of Pain catches up a little bit faster.
A little bit. I think it depends on the ganks. Tim's in a little bit of trouble, actually. He does have the spiked carapace, and he's got this shrine. They did manage to force that out, so that's a little bit annoying for either the Terrorblade or the Queen of Pain. Not going to have that in reserve. Cuckoo trading hits with Carl. He's actually getting a couple of procs here. 10 wand charges on him, only 2 on Cuckoo. He turns around, throws in another auto attack. Cuckoo just doesn't have any mana left in the tank to make any surprising play. Does have a Fairy Fire up his sleeve, but... what else has we got going on? Lumik, they're looking for him. Couldn't catch him with the Maledict. There's a Mana Burn. He finds himself an Invis Vern, and away he will walk. Actually, just going to keep an eye on Tim's at the moment. See what the supports opt to do. Maybe try and cancel one of these Clarities if he's being a super nuisance. Yeah, more damage on Raven, but I think he's going to be fine. There's also a Burst Strike for some harassment. There is a Metamorphosis ready to go. Now the Paralyzing Cast bouncing through Tim's with a follow-up stun. Raging Potato, not nearly enough armor, and that Scorched Earth just works against him. Nice spiked Carapace, keeping him locked down. And
yeah, Tim's right now showing a very good usage of Spike Carapace. We saw once mid to actually get the kill on OD. And once again here. Gonna be a pretty good game for a Spike Carapace. There's a lot of continuous DOT damage. Tim's looks like he's gonna get that ward even scouted out here. They don't actually see him. That's the biggest juke I've ever seen. Alright.
It was almost a kill on OD, right? The spiked Carapace. Yeah, he actually survived.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah. But still, it was pretty heads up play. Mid lane still Cuckoo with the 22 denies. He's got more denies than he has creeps. Like, what's going on?
I don't know.
Oh man, Sam H with the hook coming in from behind. Carl does have the imprison, but that's not going to save him. There's still 3 more heroes wanting his life, and Tim's will be the one to finish it. On the other side, Raven getting run at once again by Raging Potato. Terrorblade. I mean, also, I don't know if it was it worth it to devour that Mud Golem? He had the Satyr at the moment, but now it's gone. Spots Tim's coming up the hill. Looks like he'll be the one to secure this 8-minute bounty rune. And down at bottom, Sam H and 143.7. Do they have enough damage to kill off Nando? Does Sam H have the mana? That's the question. The battery's still getting soaked up a little bit by these creeps. They're actually helping out a lot. Paralyzing Cast now bouncing through. Sam H going to do his best to keep him up. 143.7 and the cogs come in at just the right time. Is there going to be enough damage? Cuckoo also looking for the help. Oh, they get the touch onto 143.7. I guess he wouldn't have had enough damage to finish off the Razor. Sam H did a good job of breaking the link, right?
Yeah,
there's only like 24 still damage.
But I think
TP top. It's not over. They're inside the trees. They bring down Raven on the Terrorblade. Wasn't able to get the Sunder off. Lumik in perhaps a bit too deep though. And TNC now with the punish. They still have all of their TPs pretty much available for this. Yaj tanking damage. Cuckoo gets in front of him. Still has the Sonic Wave. Shouldn't need to use it. One last Scream of Pain finishes it. And across the map, it's going to end up being a 3-for-1. OD finding a little bit of farm in the interim, but TNC just moving so well in this grand final.
I mean, to be fair, their heroes, again, are able to do more at this stage of the game, but good to see that they're using their lineup the way it meant to be and getting a lot of stuff done. Razor had pretty much free farm this game, and you can see that by the CS chart, he is the highest one by far. But unfortunately, it's just a Razor. He's not getting, let's say, a Blink Dagger that's going to impact the fights or anything. He's just going to get drums. He's just going to get Hood. So it's just, I don't know. This is why I feel like Razor is such a non-impact hero.
Yeah. TNC with another smoke. Looking for the OD perhaps once again. Or heading down bottom. Nando perhaps a slightly bigger kill. Like you're saying, he is the lead farmer for Execration at the moment, and not a hero that farms particularly quickly, so if they get a couple of back-to-back kills, Sam H missing on the hook though, and at the same time, Cuckoo going to be brought down by Yaj. Looks like not even a Doom, just... I don't know what happened there. I was just too busy watching the Clockwork gank.
Maybe they changed something? No,
I mean,
actually, Doom doesn't even have the Satyr, or it doesn't have the Rock Golem anymore.
Alright, they see Nando. Sam H throws out the Rocket Flare. Eye of the Storm gonna get popped in response. Nando was anticipating the dive, but it's not gonna happen. Cuckoo just going to be TPing in towards the mid lane, gets straight up imprisoned. OD also buying some small items this game, is going to be opting for the drum. So we'll probably drum 4 staff. Cuckoo trying to man up, but can't really do it into the Astral, even with only 1 point. Raging Potato's coming across, he's got the Doom, he raises his hands up, and that's big trouble for Cuckoo. Also going to get hit by the Infernal Blade. Raging Potato super fast. Hit him with the Hadouken, and now he's gone. SamH will look for the turnaround. Comes in with the Battery Assault and the Cogs. Tim's with the stun from the low ground. And Raging Potato pays with his life, but still forced a bunch of rotations and got the Queen of Pain kill. Nicely done, so long as Carl survives. There is a hook shot available from SamH and comes straight across. Very nicely connected. OD does get the imprisonment down. Nice spiked Carapace once again from Tim's. Might be enough to finish this kill. The Nightmare trying to save him. He's ticking down to the air now, and the Maledict ends up being a 1-for-1 underneath the Radiant Tier 1. And 1437 just barely getting out. Brain Sap, 1 more second. But Mana Burn from Tim's will prevent even that from happening. Nice response once again from TNC. But they do lose the top tier 1, and that last hit from Yaj is actually going to be his Blink Dagger now secured. Very, very good timing for the Sand King. This is what they were lacking last game, right? Someone to actually go and make plays.
Yep. I mean, they had the Puck last game, but the Puck was also not doing enough damage. But I feel like the damage department for Execration is much, much better this game. Pretty much every single hero has a decent nuke. And not only that, Yaj is going to have a very kind of fast, continuous set. You're going to see the...
Tim's TPing straight into them. He does have the spiked Carapace and the Vendetta, in fact.
Yeah.
Alright, well.
They weren't going to kill him anyways, because the urn got accidentally put on Yaj instead of on the Nyx.
Dyer's middle tower is under attack.
Mimic with the Nightmare onto Cuckoo. Unfortunately does not have the mana for the Fiend's Grip and does need to be at least a little bit careful of the double damage Queen of Pain lurking around. Tim's with the Vendetta just going to settle for the Courier. Heads over towards Carl now. Does manage to stun him up before the imprisonment comes out. Carl needs to be a little bit careful. Spike Carapace is going to keep Tim's alive a bit longer, but nope. Sanity's Eclipse is going to pop him. And now they head onto the tier 1 tower. TNC. Can they actually muster this defense? That's the question. SamH coming in from the side, has the hook shot at the ready. Could just isolate Lumic, but he has bigger fish to fry potentially. He runs forward, pushing back Nando, trying to break the link, splitting up the fight beautifully. They isolate 1, but now the epicenter comes through onto 2. Can they burst them both down? The imprisoment's going to finish the first kill. 147 gets right click down on the backlines. Cuckoo gets finished off by the Razor. And that was all just for the Bane. Definitely not worth it. SamH does manage to walk away. But Nando cleans up the tier 1 tower.
Bottom side. Looks like they're going to ping one out, and it's going to be Terrorblade doomed up, so no Sunder here. Execration all of a sudden coming alive, tying up the game, making extending their lead to a 4K gold lead. I gotta say, TNC's constantly fighting into the Razor, which I don't think it's a good idea. Razor is the one that's probably the tankiest one. He's the most mobile one.
Raging Potato caught out by the Vendetta gank here. He's going to be brought down. But yeah, they are seemingly... They tried to gank the Razor's lane a couple of times. And I guess now they're willingly... They kind of willingly fought into him on mid. It looked okay after they bounced him around with the Cogs and kind of kept him out of the fight. But the Sand King having the farm that he does, able to kind of win that fight. Oh, Tim's... Alright, lobs out the stun. He's going to be okay. Carl, what's he got? He's just picked up his drum. I do have to say that the faith that Execration have shown in the the Razor and the Doom picks seems to be working out. That's what I was saying during the draft, right? That this is their kind of read on the meta for this patch, and does certainly seem to be working so far.
Yeah, and other teams are definitely respecting it too. They're always phase 1 banning it.
Cuckoo put some damage onto Raging Potato, but it's actually Raging Potato who drives him back. He's already got the Vitality booster, so 1600 HP on this Doom, 14 minutes in. Very, very difficult to bring down. TNC with the deep smoke. They have to keep them away from the shrine, and Nando might actually be able to backstab them. They're looking towards Carl. Nice job with the Spike Carapace to lock down the OD, but now the counter initiation comes in with the Sand King. Burst strike through, grip onto SamH, but the immediate coming out. 157 trying with the power, well, trying with the Death Ward, but not doing enough. SamH looks like he'll also get brought down. Deep rotation. They do just end up losing the 2 supports for the OD, which I don't think was too bad. Looks like they also got a very deep kind of opportunistic ward down in the midst of all of that. I don't know if they're going to be able to use this anytime soon, but...
Epicenter being channeled up, Cuckoo on the left side, and gonna get burrowed on. Do they have another stun to chain it?
Ooh, he's so low, the haste
runs
through.
away. Oh my goodness.
I mean, Strength Tread's 100% saving his life there. Not quite so lucky. His poor old Tim's gonna get caught out and brought down. Limit getting a little bit unlucky not getting the Essence Aura proc. Carl just back to farming, and he's gonna be back to base. More deep wards as well from TNC. They are doing a good job with every single movement, making sure that they continue to establish vision around the place. But
sure.
The same is kind of true of Execration. They've got some wards that are not too shabby. The TB is doing decently on net worth, but the other cores of TNC, I mean, you have to remember that this is a position 3 clockwork. Not doing that amazingly. Oop. Sam H doesn't want to use the hook to escape, but Raging Potato's right in front of him. Goes at the hook, but still gets Infernal Bladed, and he's just going to get mowed down, it looks like. That Spirit Vessel should be able to finish him. Raging Potato wants the charge. Tim's hoping that there is some backup in the area. Has the Spike Carapace ready, but now the Scorched Earth running out, so he just has to go for the stun. Does manage to connect it onto 2. This could be the opportunity that they were looking for. The Sonic Wave comes in. They do manage to split up for the Paralyzing Cast. Burst Strike from Yaj up onto the high ground. 1437 attempting the kill with the Death Ward, not going to get it. It is just Raging Potato dying in the end, and Nando quickly finds the tier 1 tower and then slides himself out of there. Gotta say, this is looking pretty good for Execration. They've been ahead on gold, they're ahead on experience, pretty much the entire game. Is there a particular timing for TNC, do you think, where the game starts turning around? Because I don't really feel like they have the late game, especially with an offlane clockwork.
Well, I think right now it's looking relatively unfair in the sense that TNC has pretty much been playing 5v4. Terrorblade hasn't really contributed too much. Yaj blinks.
Now the burst strike, they really want this kill. The Brain Sap's going to be enough. Tim's in 1437, unable to save. Yaj might end up going down. The Maldic doing quite a lot of damage. Tim's just going to run for it, and yeah, the Maldic does finish it off. And now Tim's, just getting ticked down. Raven finally engaging into a fight, but what can he really do? He gets nightmared up. He does have the Sunder. Will he be able to pop it? Turns around now, still has the wand charges. Should be able to chunk through Raging Potato. Nando's still on the high ground. He's got so much stolen damage. Getting bounced around by the Cog. The Plasma Field actually finds the double kill. Sam H trying desperately to finish this kill. Does he have enough? Yes, he does. Lumic, not enough mana left to finish this kill. So they get the turnaround, but still 4 for 2 overall. The OD still farming away. And Execration still holding on to a pretty comfortable net worth lead, though. I mean, that was a bit of a swing. Gold change was almost exactly even.
So right now, I think the game state is looking really unfair for TNC, because to me, this is actually one of Execration's first power peak, right? When the Sand King picks up the Blink Dagger, when the Razor is getting his first core items, and of course Doom has his Vessel finish, of course they're going to be the one that's running at you and looking mighty in doing so. But you gotta keep in mind that TNC is essentially playing 4v5. Terrorblade hasn't really done much of anything apart from showing that fight. So TNC is definitely taking on the chin a little bit, but I think as the game goes on, their lineup gets a little bit better. Now, in terms of who's gonna scale better, I think that discussion needs to be tabled for a little bit longer, because I feel like both of these teams are relatively similar. Clockwork it's gonna be the hero that scales downward for me, and I do think Execration slightly has a better late game. But that comes down to like itemization and positioning. I don't think it's as clear-cut of an auto victory or anything like that.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, TNC do have some decently scaling supports. I think the Nyx Assassin can get quite a lot done at all stages of this game. But I look at somebody like the Doom, right, and I feel like Raging Potato is also just going to have a huge impact for the rest of the game. Full stop. He's already had a huge impact so far, but he will continue to scale. He's only got the 1 point up in the Devour so far, so the gold is not flowing in that quickly for him.
Soon.
Cuckoo. Yeah, soon. Tim's is still just scouting for the team. Unfortunately, they haven't really been able to use that much of this information and use the deep wards because the tier 1 towers are still standing. That's probably the one thing that's come as a surprise for TNC, that they've lost all of their tier 1s with only taking a single tier 1. They're probably hoping that the TB would be able to lead them to more early towers, but not the case.
I think it's the Razor effect. Razor shows up to a tower, a fight happens, and Razor just takes the tower after the fight because he just survives. He attacks so fast and hard, especially with the stolen damage.
Nyx
So
assassin.
I wanna point to the Doom's item buildup. He's gonna go for the Blink Dagger, which is not exactly anything new or different. But within the context of this game, like you mentioned during the draft, it really comes down to when Doom gets off his ultimate, right? If you get it off too late, Terrorblade ignores it and then kills you. However, if you get it off early, like preferably when the fight, right when it begins, and you surprise the Doom with it, or surprise the Terrorblade with it, then you pretty much just run over TNC, and that's kind of the Execration game plan. They want to extend the momentum they have now, and once the Blink has, or once the Doom has a Blink, they're probably going to look for some game-ending fights, whether it's like, hey, win a fight, take a tier 3, win a fight, take a Roche.
And they spot Cuckoo. He's on top of the shrine, able to blink himself a little bit further away. Yaj still chasing, forced that burst strike. Can they get in range for the Doom? Yes, they can. They're just going to have to leave Cuckoo for dead here. Tims does complete the TP in. They're trying to pincer a little bit. Samage coming forward. Raven, they're using him on the front lines to do damage, but Razor able to force tap himself down onto the low ground. Now Cuckoo isolating Lumic. Doesn't look like he really has any way out of this. There is no stuns, actually. And he just TPs himself out of there. That was a buyback committed, and they only ended up getting the one kill. It was the biggest kill in the game. Razor taking a spill, but very big investment there. Samage maybe not done. Does spot Yaj, but he's got a force step, and he's got the burst strike. Actually, burst striking in quite aggressively. The blade mail gets popped, but Carl's just waiting that out. Still has the force step to be able to press forward, but may have bitten off a little bit more than he can chew. Just getting right click down. Epicenter coming through onto the Queen of Pain. Fairly tanky. This might be a dieback. Cuckoo down. The two trapped inside the cogs. Yaj lets the kill be finished off. Raven able to get up onto the high ground. And what, now they just go and take this tier 1? Alright, so still, good job by TNC, able to chase down those additional +1s. I don't know if Execration needed the fight without their Razor. It's been like a bit of a misstep to me. But at least they hold on to the tier 1.
I think that was slightly a mistake from Execration, because you gotta know, as Tim's trying to get away from this gank, he should be able to make it out there, to turn around and impale if he needs to. And nice impale, actually. Catches a ravage there. He should be okay. Yeah,
the Doom has Blink, actually. He's still chasing him, but no. He's okay.
When you make a buyback like that, you gotta know that the other team is pretty greedy in terms of making that buyback like pay for itself, you know? So they're really bloodthirsty in terms of hunting for kills. It just so happened that Execration was lucky enough to actually kill the Equop, where else I think that would have been a pretty poor play, but they killed the Quap, so that's a buyback, and they protect their tier 1 tower, which I think is really limiting the place that the Nyx and the Clockwork could go to. So I think Execration's still within the driver's seat of the game, even though they just lost their Razor.
Yeah, and Razor just working on a BKB. We've got 2 Lincolns queued up for... Oh, actually, they're... Cuckoo like had a Lincoln. He had the Yules queued up for a second, then he queued up the Lincolns. Now he's back to the Yules. Oh, Fiend's Grip on Cuckoo. Cannot afford another death, but he will be brought down. That is so unfortunate. Just has no idea where anybody is on the map right now. There's not a single ward from TNC.
Yeah, for the mid game, Queen's game plan is done. I don't think he actually does anything at this point. And this goes back to what we kind of brought up in the draft. It's just like, it's not exactly a great Queen game where he could go off and find free kills. And he can't really go off and split push simply because there's so many ways to shut him down with the Burrow Strike, the Doom.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Yeah, so there's nobody he runs into that he's really happy to see at the end of a blink, right?
Right.
You blink in and you get Nightmared, or you get Fiend Script, or you get Burst Struck, or you get Imprisoned, or you even just get linked. So very, very tough. Cuckoo just with the quick sorry chat wheel, feeling like maybe he's not living up to his own standard. And Execration just going to take this tier 2. They're still not that far ahead in terms of the net worth. The TB managing to carry himself along pretty nicely, but he's involved with this gank at the moment. Looks like he found an illusion rune. This could be a big opportunity. They see Carl TPing him down towards bottom. They do get a nice hook in on top of him, but Carl will be able to imprison himself. That's going to open up time for the TPs to come in. They will be able to push back Nando as soon as he arrives. Straight into the stun. Can they burst him down with Raven? They won't be able to. There's just way too many Terrorblades. They kill off the 2 big cores and TNC. Maybe this is just their chance. There's no glyph. They've got the meta running forever. Oh, man. decisive play from TNC. Raven's going to keep on marching forward. 1437, maybe a little bit big for his britches. Is going to get some help from Cuckoo to run himself away.
Yeah, he's okay. And now they're going to at least hit this tier 3 a little bit. If they get the tier 3, this is going to be a big win. OD has buyback, but obviously doesn't want to use it. But
Grip used on the other side. They're just keeping them away from mid. There's going to be a Doom coming in. 1437, paralyzing cast. Kind of bouncing everywhere. Can they actually keep this co-op alive? It looks like they might be able to. There's no booty restoration left. Sam H running across. Raven doesn't want to get distracted. Oh, gets the meta. I don't know how. Is there a reliable way to do this? Get the range delusions with the. Oh no, it's just Manta, right? Never mind.
Yeah.
I'm dumb. I've seen it happen as well with Conjure Image.
So, I really like the fact that they were able to set the kill on OD, but I don't like the fact that they went for the Bane afterwards. If the Terrorblade did not go for the Bane kill, they get that tier 3. And that means a world of difference of getting that top shrine on the left side of the map for the Roshan. Because I feel like Roshan is what really will bring TNC back in that game. Instead, TNC got a little bit of kill hungry. I like what Queen was doing, because honestly, Queen contributes nothing to the team right now, but he was doing a very good job kind of running distraction in the mid lane, eating up that Doom. What isn't supposed to happen is a Terrorblade coming to the mid lane to help out the Queen.
Yeah, I feel like
if you ask TNC right now, if they don't get the Bane kill but they get the tier 3, I'm pretty sure they'll say, all right, we'll take the tier 3.
Yeah, if you offered them one or the other, I definitely think so. Because the nicest thing is that the Queen of Pain knew where the Sand King was, right? The only thing that's super scary for the Terrorblade is if the Doom and the Sand King are both like in fog and they can coordinate and Epi, blink in, Doom just burst the Terrorblade, but no such luck. The tier 3 is extremely low. That was really a breath of fresh air for TNC. It was somewhat unfortunate that it ended up being on bottom lane. I guess the bottom lane was maybe the best place for them to do that because they got the tier 2 as well.
Yep.
Do you think, I guess they would have maybe preferred to take the tier 1 and the tier 2 mid? That was probably within their... No, I guess Glyph would have gotten reset, so...
I think the tier 3 is still more important simply because of the shrines.
Yeah.
The problem for TNC is that those kind of opportunities don't come around too frequently because it's rare for Terrorblade to be right there activating meta to join the fight and the kill. And you just happen to have gotten the Razor kill without buyback. I don't think we're going to see TNC able to get a similar play like that for a while.
Yeah, they were even fortunate with the way that the Razor TP'd in, right? Like, he TP'd in a position where he could get, like, positioned on by the clockwork. If he just TP'd sort of back here instead, then he would have arrived in the fight at a slightly better spot and may have survived long enough for his team to help out a little bit. Because he just TP'd right into the middle of a Terrorblade swarm and just died instantly. Tim's, he knows that there's a sentry up on the cliff. Another sentry ward getting popped down. They want him. Limik doesn't have any sentries left. Nando also coming over. Alright. Tim's juking for dear life.
This is very reminiscent of the game that he played yesterday as Bounty Hunter. But the big difference is that this game he actually contributes to the team fights much more with the stuns. Still doing the exact same scouting for the team. But a lot more effective in the actual fights as well.
Yeah. And Raven with that last push also now has his Lincoln Sphere completed, so he's going to be even more difficult to deal with in the upcoming fights. Looks like damage is the next thing for him. I think that's probably the right call given the state of his other cores, right? Yeah, he does actually need to get through these Execration heroes pretty quickly, and a few of them are quite tanky. I mean, even the Sand King has 1900 health at this point of the game, so a little bit difficult to bring down.
And this net worth disparity is just looking pretty sad. It says 5k difference, but if you look at the way that the heroes are stacked up, Queen of Pain is towards the bottom half.
Yeah. Well, look at poor Lumik. He's carrying the burden for his team.
No, I think that's fine. That's fine. Yeah. I mean, look at the Doom. The Doom is so farmed.
Yeah, he's huge. He got the Devour bonus gold. He maxed out the Devour in the last couple of minutes. Raging Potato is getting cashed up real quick. He's got his BKB almost completed. This next Devour should do it. Up top, Cuckoo pressuring a little bit.
BKB might be too early and so far unnecessary. feel like maybe like an armor item would be decent.
I think it's still okay, just so that you're not at the mercy of the spiked carapace, right?
Okay.
Like there is a world where you don't get your doom off because of the spiked carapace, and that like somehow loses you a fight. So I don't mind it. Oh, Cuckoo chasing forward. TNC looking for some kind of counterplay after this push. They've also once again managed to find out the OD. There's one force staff. He's also got a Hurricane Pike to get himself out of harm's way. He's ticking down a little bit to the Spirit Vessel. Will be difficult for him to re-engage. SamH, is he going to get gripped? The creep's keeping vision. TNC, now it's time for them with their force staff plays. Doom able to pop the BKB, avoiding the Carapace, moving forward. Still has his ultimate available. They are going to leave 1437 behind, perhaps. No, Raven trying to stand in between them and the Shrine, but Nando gets through. Sandy's Eclipse gets dropped down. Tim's is very, very low. Cuckoo with the Sonic Wave finishes off too. Now they pop the Doom. It's onto the Terrorblade. He won't be able to get off the Sunder. It's all down to Cuckoo at this point. He can't really do enough. A few more auto attacks from Raven is all that he has left in reserve. Ends up being a 2 for 3 overall. Yaj chasing forward with the dust, just barely off the mark on finding Tim's. Still, I have to give some props for TNC on the turnaround there. Like having the Terrorblade hide kind of just around the corner in fog and then popping out is very well played. Oh, Quap in some trouble. Doesn't have the blink. There's actually an ensnare from the Doom.
Yep, nicely played. The fight itself, even though it was a 2 for 3, it was okay in the sense that that was 2 10-second BKB charges. So honestly, TNC should have had no business even coming close to in that fight, but they did alright. But the Queen getting caught here, and now Execration getting the Aegis, that's a big problem, because I feel like the way that TNC wins fight is to pretty much burst somebody down, and particularly burst the OD down. I think if they give OD or Nando the Aegis, then that game plan is also out of the window.
Yeah,
TNC pretty much can't team fight anymore.
Yeah, they're just gonna come and kill them as they try and contest. 1437 is gonna end up dropping here. Yeah, that Infernal Blade coming through, a couple more auto attacks. SamH is going to keep on scouting out the rush. Nando's taking a decent amount of damage from this, but I think they still have some Vessel charges to heal him up. He's going to be okay. Tim's also waiting around the corner. He's got a blink. Who's going to be able to try for the snatch? Roshan's just about to drop Tim's with the stun. And he gets the snatch! He doesn't get the last hit, but still securing the Age is so valuable, and Nando's actually extremely low. Tim's might even be able to get a blink off after the respawn. They're scattering in every direction to try and find him. Tim's gets the blink off up onto the high ground. Okay, Raging Potato's still after him. The stun out. He misses the Burrow Strike. Tim's 5 seconds to go. He's being used up. Alright, he's
the space. Oh my god. How does he even have vision? I know the flare was there, but the flare I think was fading. So
yeah, I need to go back and watch that from player perspective, because it looked like he knew exactly when it was dying, right? He threw the stun like on the second.
Oh, and the fact that they were chasing the Nyx for such a long time, looks like Sejun has just took the tier 3.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Also what was there another tower in there somewhere?
I think, well, tier 1 just kind of went down.
Yeah, tier 1 went down at some point.
Man. Well, unfortunately, that was tier 3 taken after the Roshan fight, but at least it'll make the next one that much easier to come by. Terrorblade just picked up a Diffusal Blade. What's your re on that? Because this is a very late Diffusal.
I think it's just it's like one of the biggest damage items he can get. I don't know if that's actually necessarily... Is it still the case, even after some of the recent changes? Like...
it's okay, it's decent, Diffusal Blade, because you have the illusions, but I'm not sure if it's necessarily true in this game, because they have so many BKBs, right?
Yeah, that's true. The Mana Burn damage maybe isn't doing as much as you would hope.
So, I mean, he won't have a Scotty finish at this point, to be fair. But I think if you're TNC, your goal isn't to win the fights right now anyway, so maybe just farming for a stray Scotty would be the better idea, but this is Raven. He's one of the best Terrorblades ever, so...
I like this itemization in the context of the next item that he has queued up, and the fact that he already has the Lincolns. Right, I think this is probably enough damage to get him by in these team fights, and then as soon as he gets the BKB, they can only use the Doom or the The Fiend's good to pop. I guess the ensnare still pierces, so that actually gives Raging Potato a little bit of wiggle room. Speaking of that, Raging Potato actually has a Heaven's Halberd as well. Just even more items to be a huge nuisance for the TB.
The Halberd represents in some way to break down Lincolns to Doom. The instant way is actually key because when Doom casts his ultimate, he's so slow. He has to like lift up that sword and everything. Say a couple words, but Halberd is instant. It has no animation.
All right. There was a smoke attempt. Yaj has a gem. Execration kind of doing a similar thing to what we've seen TNC do with a little bit of a lead. I have to really commend TNC on how stable they've managed to keep this lead in the last little bit. I mean, a lot of that is that the Terrorblade has just continued to scale and scale and scale. Raven is having enough of a game to kind of make up for Cuckoo, who is slowly crawling his way back in. He's actually not doing that bad in terms of the levels, and like we were talking about earlier, the level 25 is going to be quite impactful this game.
You think he'll get the Lincolns?
I think so. Is that the fear is also like another TP cancel or a Fiend's Grip cancel. Tough call, but I think he'll get the Lincoln.
You know, I'm pretty sure TNC is still in this game only because of that Aegis deal. Because the way I see it, if you give Nando or Carl the Aegis, they just step push the lane. They're so much stronger to me than TNC right now.
Yeah, when it comes to an actual fight, the fact that the Raging Potato Doom can remove somebody from the fight and then still have a big impact running around throwing Infernal Blades just instantly turns it into a 4v5. And then there's also the matter of TNC just having some of these heroes that feel like they don't have much to say when it comes to the team fights. I feel like jump in on Nyx. I think Tim's is fine. There actually isn't anybody around here to follow up.
Yeah, within the context of this game, Doom is one of those heroes that does much better when he's ahead as opposed to being behind. I mean, most heroes do better when you're ahead, but Doom in particular, just because of the way that he works, he just removes a hero out of the game for the enemy team, and thus you cut off their ability to, let's say, save each other or output damage, and a team that's behind really can't take a fight before.
Tims, they want this kill on the Carl. Do they have enough damage to do it? He's got the Imprison, he's got the BKB. He's just going to try and run for it, but he might get right-click down. They're actually still putting in the damage. Cuckoo with the blink in 1 second's time. If the BKB fades, he might get him with the Shiva's damage, but he's able to blink away. Over at the mid lane, they're also kind of catching on to Nando. Paralyzing Cask. Going to bounce around a little bit. Lumic able to split it nicely, but that was the 10-second BKB charge. Forced out of Carl. There was nobody nearby that could help. Unfortunately, losing that tier 3 led to the loss of the shrine, and there really wasn't anywhere for his teammates to come in.
Well, I guess even if they wanted to help, the rest of TNC was taking on another fight in the mid lane, so TNC like really holding to this lead. Witch Doctor also, by the way, has picked up his 15 talent, and as a result, he is kind of getting a
actually getting some items.
Yeah.
Has an Aether Lens picked up. Going to be going for a Lotus shortly after that. Definitely a good Lotus game for the same reasons that it's a good Linken's game for the other heroes. TNC coming around the corner here. They're going to look in. They jump in. They actually managed to catch Raging Potato a little bit further back. Samage splitting up the fight. They're catching up to Nando. He gets the BKB off, but still getting right-click down. Tims will be the first to fall. Samage, he got hit by the Fiend's Grip. Nando barely surviving. Will those last few ticks finish him? It looks like he actually managed to limp back towards the base. Cuckoo looking to continue fighting. Raven standing his ground, but he does actually get disarmed up, and Carl back out of the imprisonment. We'll just be able to right-click him down. It's a triple kill for the OD. He dropped the Sanity's Eclipse in the middle of all of it, and TNC, even with the nice initiation, couldn't quite finish off the Razor. Just too tanky with the Shivas.
Yeah.
The TB did all of the damage in that fight. I don't even know what happened to the Quap, but looks like he just kind of got controlled and didn't do anything. At least judging from the fight recap.
Sonic waved that fight? No, he used it bottom, right?
Yeah, he used it bottom.
Yeah.
Oh, alright, buyback. Heading on to the tier 3. Execration. Making some moves. Terrorblade does have a buyback available, but no Metamorphosis, so it doesn't really matter all that much. BKB's ready to go on Carl. Cuckoo jumping in aggressively. Does have the Yules to help himself out. Will actually be able to reset. Now Tim's coming in looking for a stun. Will just barely catch onto the OD. Looks like the tier 3 might be all that Execration are able to claim here, as they will back up and ping the shrines.
I think the reason why TNC went for that very aggressive smoke play is that they were able to force out the BKB from OT, so they wanted to take a fight and initiate on him. But they saw Razor in the front line and they just could not resist the Razor, which looked like he was a little bit out of position. But what ended up happening is that, you know, they went on the target that has a BKB charge. He used it and he doesn't die. And then of course Cuckoo doesn't have the Sonic Wave because he used it to force out the BKB of OD in the first place. But TNC actually just took a smoke fight into them, lacking a ton of damage as a result.
Yeah, and as soon as Carl saw the disables used, he was able to just jump into the fight, no problem. I mean, even without the BKB, was just able to go to work. And now he's got himself a Lincoln's, so that's going to help out a little bit in terms of just avoiding the lockdown. Didn't opt for the 20 strength, let's just get the 2 sanity to Eclipse multiplier. So the hammer's going to hit a little bit harder. This could have been a decent game for the strength. I don't know if his team is necessarily lacking for damage, but
unseen energy.
Radiant's top tower.
I think you could read it 2 different ways. It's like his team is also doing so much damage that he pretty much doesn't really need to do it all, so he doesn't need to stay alive for that long. Just need to throw down the hammer before he dies. Pretty much everybody apart from Lumic is a threat on the side of Execration. Axe picked up on Razor, so now he is a seizure with his ultimate. And also the Doom Axe being picked up. Not sure how effective that one is, because I don't think these fights should or need to last that long. If you Doom terribly, he's dead.
Yep. So it
I
does.
think the refresher might actually be better this game.
Yeah, it does. I guess the break doesn't really do anything either.
Yeah.
So yeah, I could definitely see the argument for just the refresher. He might just end up getting both. He's got the refresher queued up shortly after. And TNC still just kind of playing the base defense game. Terribly, what's the next item going to be? Is just queuing up the Scotty. Definitely needs some more damage. He got to hit the Razor for a long time in that last fight, but the Razor was just too tanky. Yaj looking for something here. Who's he managed to find? It is Cuckoo. He does have the... Oh, he's got a Lincoln Sphere. He went for the Fear. Talent at 25. We'll be able to escape. What's going on over here? Alright, there's a little bit of dewarding going on. They were just waiting for the gem to get brought back over. TNC moving through the Radiant jungle. Can they find Carl? He's kind of out on an island. I don't know if they have the lockdown. They'd need to get maybe a Cogs pushback. Tim's looking for the stun. Does manage to pop the Lincolns. BKB gonna get popped. Carl turns around, lays down 1 auto attack. And he's gonna be
getting
okay.
The Execration to use their BKB charges and losing nothing for it is kind of the goal. The way I see TNC winning this game is to take a fight where Execration's BKB charges are down or limited. Because that's where Queen of Pain becomes useful again. Witch Doctor's cast is a big threat. And of course, a lot of Terrorblade, even his damage output is dependent on that Diffusal Blade, so... Just, if you could bring those BKB charges down to 5, they have a better shot. But that's a lot easier said than done, because every time Execration are popping their BKB, it's likely that they're getting something done with it.
Yeah, and I still don't know if... TNC probably can't take a 5-on-5 around the Roshan pit right now, right? So, unless we see another big steal from TNC, might be a bit... Oh, stun attempt on a Raging Potato, but he actually blinks down onto the low ground. He's inside of the pit, but this could be an awkward fight. Cuckoo needing to be careful. Raging Potato gonna get the Lotus Orb, a little bit of help out from Yaj. They do not get that catch. Mid lane's being pushed all the way in, so somebody's gonna have to go and deal with that. And TNC still just fishing for a position. Execration haven't been able to go and take these shrines just yet. I feel like they are giving TNC a lot of respect in terms of the pickoff potential and their ability to just shove lanes and threaten buildings. They really seem to be completely unwilling to let them even get a single lane like pushed far onto their side of the map, but that also means that they're not really pushing lanes that far over onto the dire side. Do you think any of that has to do with the context that they're down 1 game here, and if they lose this this game, that's it? Or is that just the general Execration game plan?
I think the reason they're taking it slow is that they recognize that if they aren't careful in terms of managing the creep wave, Terrorblade could always just rat them. And they already have an exposed bottom lane, so they really need to make sure that the possibility of a backdoor isn't happening. Terrorblade is one of those heroes I can't just be like, hey, backdoor protection, I don't care.
Yeah, that earlier tier 3, or the damage that they got on the tier 3 earlier, is still kind of keeping TNC in this somewhat. Both teams still posturing for a fight. Both teams want to take their fight on top of their vision. And it looks like TNC kind of trying to drag it over towards this Obs plus Sentry combo that they have going on over on the high ground. They try for the stun onto Carl, but immediate burst strike onto Tim. He's down. That's another BKB charge used. If TNC can get out of here without losing anyone else, that could be big, but there is a buyback from the Nyx Assassin. They're looking to turn back around. Raging Potato actually getting chunked by Raven. Can they get the Doom off? He just barely manages to. Onto the Queen of Pain. Carl's still stealing in. He drops the Sandy's Eclipse. The Fiend's Grip is keeping Raven controlled. If he can just get out of this, he'll be able to use the BKB and perhaps get the Sunder off. Can he find a target? The link isn't being popped. He turns back around, but the Lotus Orb from Yacht is going to prevent the Sunder from doing anything. Raven's still fighting. Carl comes back in. He's able to auto-attack a little bit longer. Raven just trying to find his way out. More buybacks from TNC. Cuckoo looking to rejoin this fight. 1437, no TP. He's stuck in the trees. Raven waiting for his TP to cool down. Looks like he has managed to find a little hidey hole, and he will be able to escape, but that is 5 for 1?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or is that 4 for 1? Nyx Assassin died back there.
Two buybacks.
Yeah, 2 buybacks. I think that might have been the last straw, man, because that's a lot of buyback that TNC don't really have the gold for. It was very well played, getting the Terrorblade super low, and then he spent majority of his BKB duration just looking for a Sunder. I almost think that he should have just Sunder like a Witch Doctor that was full HP nearby. He ultimately did find Yaj, but Yaj, of course, counterplayed it hard by the Lotus. We've been seeing a lot of really sick Lotus kind of redirecting
clutchness.
Sunders. We saw one yesterday and pretty much won the fight for the team that did it, and I would say it's very similar here as well.
Yeah, I can definitely see a situation in which, like, even if the TB manages to get over and get the Sunder onto the OD, then the OD isn't able to re-engage and keep on fighting, and all of a sudden you've got a full HP Terrorblade to deal with nothing nothing coming in from the Doom. I mean, the Doom did buy back, but it was always going to take Raging Potato a little while to kind of get back over there. So we now have the Aegis and the Cheese in the hands of Execration. Aegis going to be going over to Carl. We've got the Cheese on the Razor. Execration not leaving anything to chance, as they are now up to a 19k net worth lead, a 30k experience lead, and TNC just continuing to try and take fights over on this Radiant side of the map. Carl is invis. Do they have any detection? They are going to be able to try and pop this. Try and pop the Queen of Pain. Gets forced out a little bit further away. Sandmage going to try and open up the space. He's got 3 inside of the cogs. Do they actually have any damage to follow it up? Sandmage with the Blade Mail doing the best that he can. Nyx Assassin going to get gripped. Cuckoo jumps in. The Fear will end up canceling the Fiend's Grip as Raging Potato can't quite find a target for the Doom. And he gets mowed down. Now Raven is marching forward, looking for more. Lumic going to try for the TP out. There is no Yule. Sandmage going to get the cogs pushed back. Yes, he can. Lumic just barely finished off. And that was the Doom that bought back in the previous fight.
That's 2 heroes dead without buyback. Buyback is open. I think they can actually do this. I mean, okay, all of the heroes on the Radiant side still have their ultimates left, but they don't have the BKB. So if TNC could find a good initiation stunning, the OD in particular, they have a good shot of winning this game.
Yeah, and the Aegis is down. There is a glyph, so that's going to be forced out now, but they don't really have much initiation. They actually find the Sand King, canceling the Epicenter. Nicely done by Cuckoo. They get the Hex up onto the Nyx Assassin. 2-man burst back through. Sandmage also taking big damage, but Nando getting forced back by the Scotty. He does pop the BKB. Raven stands his ground, using the Manta, wants this lane of Brax, going to try and clean up more. They've actually isolated the OD on the other side. The Cog pushback is perfect. Carl can't get anything off. He buys back now into the game. He does have the Sanity's Eclipse ready to go, but can they actually catch anyone? The Burst Strike still on cooldown for 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1 second. Carl running in. They're actually going to turn around and fight. Raven doesn't have the ulti. Sam H traps him inside of the Cog. The Sanity's Eclipse kills off the Clockwork. 1437 now trying to make his escape. They do manage to get the Hex up onto the Terrorblade. He's got his BKB once he drops back down. We'll be able to pop that and just try for the TP out, and he's fine. TNC get the lane of Rax, they get the OD buyback, and they get out.
Yeah, and let's see if there's enough time for Execration just to run down the other side to at least get a counter lane of Rax. They're pinging it out, or Lumic at least is. But I'm not sure whether they can. Like, for example, OD as a hero just doesn't push the waves that quickly.
Yeah, and I would imagine that Cuckoo is going to be poised to maybe cut the next mid wave. We'll see. He's actually heading over towards the top side right now. A little bit low on mana.
Yeah, I'm not sure whether he can. Well, there's no meta for like 30 more seconds, so this mid lane of Rax is not looking good. Do they have Glyph?
They do have a Glyph, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Glyph is up. But still, they're already on their front door. Tanking heads up. BKB bot up for the Queen of Pain. I mean, can fear them back towards their base, but I don't think that's going to be enough to save this lane. The Eye of the Storm is being popped. Nando wants to probably try and commit for more as they head over towards the top side. SamH still on the ground for 30 seconds. Glyph hasn't been used just yet. Tims might be looking for his initiation soon. TB building up some illusions, does have the Metamorphosis back up. They're going to throw Lincolns onto him. And Raven moves onto the front lines, just forcing Execration back. And they're instead just going to go and take the Shrine.
The event in the last like maybe 5 to 6 minutes has been very good for TNC. They pretty much initiated a Rax trade. They did have to waste a lot of their buyback, but so did Execration. They're essentially trading a resource, but when you're behind, trading 1-for-1 like this is, I think, not too bad. You're just kind of evilizing the game a little bit.
Oh man, there's an illusion rune down here. That's pretty scary. So they're gonna bring their TB over to that.
Give a bottle. Pop should give his bottle to Terrible.
Yeah.
Never mind, he has the butterfly thing. Because at the time I saw that, there was only a quarter set.
I didn't. Yeah. Okay, yeah. So not really that worth, but all right. Butterfly up. Quite a bit more damage now on Raven. Another smoke from TNC. They just keep dictating where these fights keep happening.
Yes.
Execration huddled up.
That's especially important against a Doom team, right? Because if you're starting the fight, and again, we've been saying this many times, if Terrorblade could pop his everything, then it doesn't matter if he's doomed or not, or it matters a lot.
Oh, this is so sneaky from TNC.
This is sorry, this is a patented 1437 gank. Like, he always does this. He always just like smoke into the base, because that's the last place you'll expect.
Yeah. And somebody could have very well TP'd in there. Execration being disciplined in terms of defending as a group, going from lane to lane, not really exposing anybody. Carl only feeling confident to move forward, knowing that his team is in tow behind him, but the tier 2 gets brought down. Double siege wagons pushing in all over the place, so Execration have some base defense to do. And TNC, what do they got? They got a 10-second BKB now on the Queen of Pain, so I feel like Cuckoo's actually going to be able to kind of stand and fight quite effectively. It's down to 6 seconds on the Terrorblade, which is certainly cause for concern, but...
Yeah. The Terrorblade one in particular is very important, because he, within the duration of his BKB, he doesn't have to worry about the Sanity's Eclipse, all the burrow strikes that are coming his way. And after that's over, then he begins to be very easily controlled. They should really take that Shrine with Illusion.
Yep, they're working on it. Illusion number 1, illusion number 2. Alright, Raven decides, okay, they're not coming to defend this, I'll just finish it up. So, alright. Shrine down, more gold. The Witch Doctor has not completed his Lotus just yet. Has been doing the majority of the warding for the team, it looks like. What's the gem situation? We do have a Burst Strike coming in. They're looking to turn this around onto Yaj. What's he got? He will be able to heal himself up. Nanda now coming forward, but Cuckoo with the fear, sending them packing. Is he going to get doomed? They actually managed to pop his Lincoln. He gets the BKB off the cogs through SamH. Might be the saving grace here. It's Raven able to start slicing through Nando. The secondary doom coming in onto Raven, but he's just not taking any damage just yet. Carl now running forward. Can he actually do the job? They get the Hex up. There's no way to undoom their Terrorblade, so he's going to get Sanity's Eclipse down. Tim's able to find a little hidey hole and maybe get the blink out. No, they've spotted him, and he will be finished off. TNC somehow managed to evac the Queen of Pain in the midst of all of that. But
that is the Refresher Doom coming into effect. Quap got doomed, and then the redoom. And now if Quap gets caught here, and Snare is gonna be there.
Netted. Fertile Blade, stun. Where's the damage though? That's the question. Yeah, he's fine.
They're not running across the map to force out the buybacks. I don't know if that's...
Yeah, that's a bit weird. They did use 2 refresher orbs in that fight. Nando popped his refresher and Raging Potato also used his, so they are down some cooldowns. This is a potentially risky situation to go and try and do something, but I agree with you that they should at least try and... I guess maybe they know that they just can't threaten anything, right? Or they know that they have to deal with Cuckoo beforehand because this Queen of Pain is just kind of cutting waves everywhere and actually quite difficult to kill without getting doomed.
You know the scenario I brought up about 20 minutes ago where the way that TNC will win this game is forcing their BKB charges down to very low, and that's... It, again, suddenly makes a lot of these heroes super effective, especially now Quap with his 25, like getting the fear. Like Razor, for example, Doom, all of these are very high-speed moving heroes. If Cuckoo could get off a fear at the right moment, then they could just spend the majority of that team fight just running away from where the actual fight is.
Yeah, it's 1.5 seconds of running away, and then 1.5 seconds of running to get back to where you were, right?
Right.
So it's very annoying, and he's been using it so well. I feel like TNC with the cogs and now the fear have just been isolating heroes for the Terrorblade extremely well. Like the only reason that Nando survived in that last fight is that he refreshed and piked himself over the top of the cliff and was able to get away from the Terrorblade that way. So TNC,
the fear is they want to take this in.
Yeah, I don't know. This is like the same move that they've been making every time, but this time around they're not going to find Carl by himself. He does have his team behind him. We got some hexes picked up for Execration, one on the Sand King and one on the OD. We also saw the OD struggle a little bit against the Butterfly in the last fight, so he is going to be working his way towards an MKB. I was wondering if we might just see yet another refresher on him to double up his BKB and get another shot with the Sanity's Eclipse, but instead just opting to try and get some right clicks in. Razor's refresher is back up cooldown, so Tim's gonna scout this smoke. Does have the blink to get out. They get the burst strike coming in onto the Witch Doctor. He's the only target so far. Double force staff actually gonna get them a little bit further away. Yaj, what else can he find? Raging Potato trying to run forward, but his blink being cancelled. Cuckoo jumping in pretty aggressively, gonna send 4 of them packing backwards with the fear.
Oh man. The funny thing about Quap...
Oh, Nando got bashed. Oh, poor guy. The funny thing about the fear.
Oh, hold that thought. We might see a big fight here. Nando's ultimate now ends. He does have a refresh orb, but doesn't want to pop in willy-nilly here.
Yeah, alright, BKB jump in. Hex, can they actually get anything? Carl may have jumped the gun.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's not good. Now Tim's gonna turn around. They've got the stun. They should just be able to burst the OD. Can he imprison himself? He will be able to. Might be able to blink out of this one unless Sam H has the cogs. He's just waiting with the battery until Carl manages to blink himself out. But Cuckoo is right on top of him. He's dead for 120 seconds. And TNC gonna come knocking on the door. The hook shot forward. Sam H just saying hello. Looks like that's TNC actually want the Roche instead. And that's the... That is the refresher shard up for grabs.
So who's gonna give it to? I'm not sure who has inventory spot at this point for it. Queen of Pain, I guess.
I suppose. I mean, it's just important that they take it away from Execration because they
want to fight for it.
Definitely have some value. All right, they're gonna pop that. Oh, the Sand King trying to queue up the epicenter, but I don't think it's gonna get the chance. He's being feared. He will be able to use himself. The Doom jumping in. He manages to get it up onto the Terrorblade, but TNC just kiting away. Nando with the fairly ineffective BKB. Raging Potato with the secondary Doom. Now over onto the Quap. I think he should be able to run down Cuckoo up on the high ground. Terrorblade still waiting. Still waiting. They have lost their Nyx Assassin. Carl jumping forward aggressively. Another Hex, but a force staff up onto the high ground. He finds himself in a bit of an awkward situation, but actually might be exactly what he needed. They're going to buy back on the Quap.
Can they go back and get the Roshan? They did buy back for this. A lot of commitment. Roshan is very low. Rocket Flare is going to check the HP of Roshan. They don't take it necessarily that fast, but of course, TNC is very far away from Roche. I don't think they can make it there in time unless Clockwork hooks in away from a mile.
He's got the distance. He's in range now. He should actually be able to do this. They're going to jump in. They got the fear. They're stunned out, but now they've also got the agents who managed to get away with the cheat. I don't know if it really matters. Nando's about to drop. They have to keep Carl alive. He did just buy back earlier. Nando, one more touch to finish him. Rocket Flare's going to get it. Sandwich with the double. Lumic getting ticked down. TNC looks like they may have actually just found the opportunity. 2 heroes dead with no buyback. The Razor buyback waiting to be forced. There is a glyph, but well, we doubted the scaling potential of the clockwork, but Sam H has certainly made me eat my words in this game.
Cuckoo picked up the refresher shard, and now we're gonna see a hook in.
Yeah, they're going to work. He pops that refresher. Can they burst down Nando? Can they burst down Carl? They've got the secondary hex. Nando's dead. Carl trying to escape back to his fountain. Looks like he might be able to make it, but the rest of the team is gone. TB just way too much damage, laying in with the auto attacks. Raven, is he even going to bother going for the tier 3? No, straight onto the tier 4. TNC sensed their opportunity to move forward, and Execration know when to call it a day.
Holy. What a comeback here from TNC. They were pretty much down after the
They never closed the net gap, Lumi. They were never ahead on gold the entire game.
Yeah, just out teamfight, outmaneuver TNC. The one thing that TNC did super well, and I think much better than Execration, is that they got a lot better vision, and they always choose to take fight under their vision. And that helps a lot in terms of kind of continue your spell. Also, very awesome recovery from Cuckoo, right? During the mid game, I was saying, man, Cuckoo's game is done. But after he got to 25, he recognized that, okay, my damage department is not very high, but I could still play the control game. And that's pretty much what he did. Going forward, the 1.5 second fear, just doing so much work. And of course, we saw what happened there in the Roshan.